Okay, everybody, hello, and welcome to the Vancouver Real Estate Blog. I'm Amera.
I'm Wilfred. Welcome back.
And today we are going to be doing a market update for you that's going to be discussing the past month, January 2023, going into February 2023. So lots of exciting content to share. We're going to break it down into 4 categories for you. Feel free to skip ahead if you're looking for something specific here, but we're going to talk about the exterior influences that we've seen on our market. We're going to talk about the statistics that we kind of saw as a result of that. We're going to be talking about predictions for the market over the next month and potentially even the next year. And then we're going to go into opportunities for buyers and sellers. So if you're a buyer or you're a seller, what are your opportunities right now? Wilfred, do you want to start out by talking about some exterior influences that we saw this past month? And honestly, I think some of them have carried over from this past year.
Yeah. So I'm sure a lot of people heard the interest rate gone up by 0.25. We had a recent video about that. And so that's a big one. Hopefully it will bring more stability to the housing market, as the Real Estate Board of Greater Vancouver predicted that, and the Bank of Canada mostly mentioned that it will be the last increase, hopefully, depending on the inflation rate. And of course, the immigration is staying stable as well. So that means that we have people who still looking to move into BC and Canada. So those are the 2 major external influences. Let's talk about the stats now. Amera, do you want to give us a little bit of a breakdown of what happened in January 2023?
Absolutely. So talking about the stats here, what we did notice is that for residential home sales, when we look at year over year, so January 2022 to 2023, we saw a 55.3% decrease. And that's such obviously a shocking number, something we've kind of, I guess, started to almost get used to, acclimated to. But to note with that is January 2022 was a very busy month for us compared to our sales histories here, even in Vancouver. So when we're comparing to those kind of early months of last year, January, February, March, April, we did see a very active market. So when we look at our market now, even if we were kind of starting to increase or more balanced, it will look like it's quite slow just because we had such an active market last year in that time. Going into it, we just want to take a look at comparing property types and their sales to active ratios. So just a fresh reminder, when you're looking at 0 to 11%, you're sitting in a buyer's market. When you're sitting 12 to 20, you are going to be in a balance, and 20 and up is a seller. So we typically sit in a seller's market here in Vancouver, but we're sitting in a balance to buyer's market right now. And that's something we really have seen over the past 2 months. And, you know, I'm kind of thinking we're going to continue to see, depending on the market, over in the next few months here as well. So we were seeing that we were sitting at 13.7% overall, so balanced market there. But when you break it down into property types, we noticed we're at 10.2% for detached homes, 13.4% for townhomes, and 16.7% for condos. So as usual, condos are the most active, detached homes are the least right now. Do you want to maybe talk a little bit about the month-to-month benchmark prices that we saw, and kind of what those are looking like right now, Wilfred?
Yeah, interesting numbers, like you mentioned, Amera. So the sales of detached homes in January 2023 reached 295, which is a 52.6% decrease from the 662 detached sales recorded in January 2023. And the benchmark price of the detached is 1.8 million right now. So which is a 9.1% decrease from January 2022 and a 1.2% decrease compared to December 2022. So that's detached. Now let's talk about townhouses. So in terms of the townhouses, it's currently the benchmark price at 1.02 million, and which is only a 3% decrease from January 2022. So even though it was crazy busy last year, compared to this year, it only went down by 3%. So which means townhouses, you know, it's still something that people are willing to pay a really high price, and it's only 0.8% increase compared to December 2022. So there is an increase in terms of the prices. Now, in terms of apartments, we have the benchmark price is currently at 720,000, which represents a 1.1% decrease from January 2022. Again, this is like pretty not too shocking, but when the market has been going down, it hasn't been down a lot for the apartments and townhouse. And it's a 1% increase compared to December 2022. So we are seeing some of a rise in the benchmark prices currently. So that being said, any thoughts and comments on that, Amera?
I mean, I think you summarized it obviously with all of the stats there, but when we're actually going into our kind of predictions and thoughts in that sense, I did, notice a lot of people holding out, trying to time the market right now. And I'm going to say, like, they could be right. We may continue to see home prices drop a bit, but there's so many exterior factors that play into it that I think are going to potentially hold our market quite stable right now. So like you were mentioning earlier, the fact that interest rates are likely to remain stable. We may see some small increases throughout the year, but it really does look like they're going to remain stable. Inflation is continuing to be managed quite more significantly than what we saw previously in the year. I don't want to say well, it's still a struggle for sure, but we're getting closer and closer to that 2%. So I guess my only question mark is, do we need to see more increases to get down to that 2%? Time will tell. Along with that, I mean, we're starting to see that spring market come in. Lunar New Year is over. People are ready to start exploring a bit more. And if you're a potential, buyer out there right now, starting to look around, can't encourage you enough to get pre-approved. It's going to make you competitive when you're ready to write an offer on a home. And you'd be surprised if you're out looking at homes right now and you're not pre-approved, A, how much more challenging it is to get that deal together. But B, just how quickly you can end up finding a home that you fall in love with. It always happens at the wrong time, right? You don't expect it. So always prepare for that. And then I think just, talking maybe a bit about your predictions as well. What are you seeing happening right now over the next year, the next few months?
Predictions. My personal prediction is that it depends on the area and depends on the region. For example, out of the 20 regions in Greater Vancouver, 6 regions have increased in benchmark price. New West, Port Coquitlam, Port Moody, Richmond, Squamish, and Tawasin. So I think some areas like that will continue to slowly but surely increase back, because there is a demand. There is people going back out there, like you've seen yourself and how busy your open house was. And so there's lots of opportunities. So that's also my prediction. But by the end of the year, hopefully we'll reach back down to the inflation goal, which is 2%. And but only, like you said, only time will tell. What about you, Amera? What are some of your predictions?
So aside of what I was kind of commenting on, just about our interest rates and what we're looking at there, I have started to really, we've all started to notice just how much we're building of new condos and how little we're building of new homes. So I'm actually, starting to think that we're going to see an increase, maybe not quite the end of this year, but going into the following, in the prices of detached homes, just due to such a strong lack of inventory. And then for the condos, we have so many pre-sales that are, anxiously trying to sell. If you're interested in pre-sale, contact myself or Wilfred. We can get you connected to some of those deals that are out there right now. But we just have so much inventory coming up with that, which, despite our lack of inventory as a whole in Vancouver, I think is going to offset some of the price points that we're seeing for condos right now. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so you mean that will we see a rise in prices? Is that what you mean, or a decrease in price?
Yeah, I'm thinking that with detached homes, we're probably going to see a rise in prices for those, maybe towards the end of this year or going into the next few years here. more significantly than what we usually see, because normally it's more condo heavy for our price points. We tend to really value the condos. They're great for investors. They're a great, first-time home buyer opportunity. But detached homes are such a, high demand and low supply. And we're continuing to see people make condos, but how many people do you really see building, detached houses right now? It's so few. So that's kind of what I was getting at, is just that detached homes, I really think, are going to increase in value quite significantly, even over the next, 2, 3, 4, 5 years. And condos, I think we are actually going to see them come down a little bit in price, not just because of the market that we're in, but because of how many are coming up, between now and we see some that are getting built 2026, 2027. So it's not that they're going to lose their value by any means, but just that we may not see those same increases that we have before.
I definitely agree with that in the areas where they have a lot of supply. Again, it's such a specific market. Even in Greater Vancouver, we have like micro economy. And so yes, you're 100% right. Like, for example, I feel like Oak Ridge, which is like a massive development area, very, very expensive price point for majority of people. In those areas, you can see that it will, with a supply that it's coming and the amount of price point that they put, yes, I can see those prices decrease. Whereas some other areas, which is less developed but still desirable and has come down, it's still, I feel like it's gonna come back up for like people who want a home, we really don't want a home, and they don't mind moving outside, and they don't mind paying a little bit more. So yeah, that being said, I think that will create both sellers and buyers opportunities, right? Which one do you see the biggest opportunity?
I mean, I feel like that one's been pretty straightforward for a lot of us. It's going to be the buyer's opportunity. So right now it's more challenging to get into the market, but if you're able to get in, there are some great prices out there right now and opportunities available to you, specifically if you're, in that detached home price point. Detached homes have really been struggling in our market. So, I think if you're looking in that area, that's going to be a big opportunity for you. The biggest struggle is going to be for those first-time home buyers trying to get approved right now. As well, I think, I'm not sure if you've seen this as well, but I noticed that smaller detached homes at lower price points, those are still very desirable and getting picked up quite quickly right now. So lower square footage, lower price point, maybe a upcoming neighborhood, and then also obviously those places like in Kitsilano and that was kind of, I think, what you were saying earlier, those like very sought after areas where you're almost never going to see significant drops in price. Like we might have seen a little bit, but I think they're still just so competitive to get into. Everyone wants to move into these neighborhoods. So
exactly.
Yeah, amazing. Well, I think we're kind of on the same page there, and hopefully you guys were able to take something out of that. I think we just want to thank you for watching our video today, and hope you learned something, hope you enjoyed, and hope that you'll stay tuned for our next market update for March 2023, referring to this past or upcoming month kind of here. And definitely give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video, and subscribe for more content.
Yeah, happy to help further if you need the full market report or to meet with Amera or myself. Yes, thank you so much and have a beautiful day.
All right, thanks guys. Bye.
Take care.